Alright, welcome back to Medieval Total War and our French campaign on Expert Difficulty, Glorious Achievements mode. We have picked up another ally recently with the Spanish, and so the goal there is just to keep them off of our back for a little while. They also have a neighbor down somewhere around here. They border the Sicilians, who have expanded down into Cyrenaica, Egypt, and now, although they're having a bit of trouble holding on to Egypt, they are besieging Sinai. The Egyptians themselves are still in play, pretty strong in Syria and Arabia, although I'm the strongest power in the region, I would say. Well, the Byzantines, if they wanted to, I'm sure could throw everything at me and get me out of here. But the Egyptians are still in play as a faction, and they are at war with the Byzantines and still managing to hold at least Syria. I don't know if they have anything north of that. We are allied with the Egyptians, and well, I'm wondering if it's time for that alliance to end. Because if they are really just a minor player here, I don't know that we need them anymore. That said, I'd like to keep them around on the battlefield. I don't think it's worth throwing ourselves into the fight, right, to relieve the siege here. If we really wanted to, we could get our king a bit of influence, not that he needs it, by relieving a siege. But that's just a thought. I think we'll kind of keep things as they are. We're basically continuing our modus operandi of building, trying to tech up, and kind of waiting. The issue is, of course, at this point in the campaign, it's rather awkward. We've got a fair amount of territory, but it's very, very spread out. Of course, we've got the Enclave here, the Heartland, Flanders, Champagne, and Ile-de-France. Then we've got Brittany off on its own, Toulouse on its own, and then we've got the Outremer region, essentially, including recently Cyprus, but basically Antioch, Tripoli, and Palestine. So all these places are, far from one another, and while we can transport troops between them, at least in the north, they are... we don't have a really good border, right? We don't have anything nearly as good as the Spanish do, they basically have a 3-province front. They've got 2 on me, and then 1 on Sicily, and that's it. So we are going to be up against, a lot more challenges. We're basically surrounded by the English. We do border the papacy and the Spanish, and then we are surrounded by Sicilians, Egyptians, and Byzantines over in the Holy Land. So we have the difficult position of a lot of little places to defend, not quite the income to do it all. And so what I'm hoping to do here is something that I try in a lot of my campaigns, which is just be small. Be a small target and quietly build up and tech up so that you can get to the really good units, because all the other guys can absolutely outproduce me at this point. If the English wanted to just throw everything at me, I mean, look at this. They've got a lot of men, and while a lot of their men are not of the highest quality, they've got enough of them that they could swamp us. So we want to make sure that we've got stuff that is higher quality. So where they're training like spearmen, we want to make sure we have feudal sergeants instead. So it's time to replace some of these units. What I'm going to be doing is building more of these kinds of guys. In fact, let's just queue up a few more. There we go. And then we will trade out some of the current units that we've got here, like some of the spearmen, some of the peasants, and just kind of spread that throughout the land here so that we do have a decent core. And then we'll sort of go from there. Let's end the year and see what anyone's going to do. I mean, the thing that's interesting about this is that we've maintained alliances with a lot of factions. And so, if they go to war with each other, like in the recent past, we've had to drop an alliance with the Germans. I think that's worked out fairly well. I think we made the right move there. Okay, the Byzantines going for the papacy here. And, we are not currently at war with the Byzantines, but we are not allied with them either. And we've got another assassin loose. We do have our own assassins out and about, so we'll obviously keep an eye on that. The Egyptians push back the Sicilians in Sinai. I think that's good news. And we've got an assassin of the English in Toulouse. We've got some decent assassins now who have only earned their XP by sitting. They're not like doing anything in particular. They're not actually going after targets. Alright, so let's go ahead, disband you, and disband you. And we'll actually move one of you up here. And disband you as well. Maybe we'll even get rid of some of the urban militia at some point. Okay, but Egypt has fallen, actually, to rebels. We could take it right now. I mean, that's pretty interesting. So, also, I'm curious about what's going to happen here, because the Sicilians do have, I presume, yeah, a naval link, probably all the way from Sicily. So they could bring a bunch of troops down here to Egypt if they wanted. But what's interesting about this is, this was a Sicilian army that's gone, and I can't remember if the message said that it was retreating or not. And if it was retreating, I guess they would have had to ransom themselves from the Egyptians to get back home. So there may be another big army, this army in fact, somewhere in another Sicilian territory. All right, we are working on a crusade, so we'll have this in our back pocket here at least. A lot of interesting mercs in Palestine now, including our very first firearm troop, handgunners, which often do show up as mercenaries before they're actually available as part of your roster. So that's interesting. I don't think I'm going to get them because I just don't want to have the support costs right now for a unit that I don't feel like I need in the area. But it's good to know they're available. Okay, yes, we just keep doing all of this. We're actually kind of making decent money, though, now. So let's keep going with Flanders. This isn't ever going to be a big troop place. So I think we'll go with the alehouse here to get better assassins. All right, so okay, that attack did work. The Byzantines threw back the papacy, but they are re-emerging. So, interesting. The papacy's taking Venice. Wow. All right, Corsica. Okay, this is a Byzantine acquisition. Looks like rebels are going to take that. The Hungarian king is in Wallachia. Byzantine emperor has died from an illness. So bad news for the Byzantines. They're losing ground in Venice, Naples, and soon Corsica, and now their emperor is dead. He's probably back in Constantinople. So, and yeah, Egypt is still untaken. So, obviously, this is a fantastic province to take. It's got cotton, it's got ivory, and it's got really good farm income all around. The AI never really builds it up, doesn't tend to make it a rich trade province for some reason. I think it might be the Mamluk cavalry getting a bonus here. These provinces where a bonus can be acquired, you can see the AI often feebly tries to build towards that and then stops. But anyway, Egypt is, obviously one I'd like to take, but not right now where I would have to defend it with armies from here, right? And defend it against both the west and the east, potentially. So I'm going to wait until, we have a slightly better situation. Let's see. The Egyptians are now at peace with the Sicilians. We'll see if they or the other faction go for Egypt. But I think we need to keep building Antioch. Let's go with the citadel here. That is going to take, 16 years. I think that's going to be pretty good. Cyprus is almost done with that keep. We're just going to keep teching up there. So, I don't know. We can't really see anything about the details here, but looking at the size of the banner, I'd say the rebels are going to easily beat the Byzantines in Corsica. Now, the Byzantines could theoretically send reinforcements, and I don't think they're at war with any of these factions. So that might be one option for them. Alright, let's just consolidate these guys. Okay, but everything's looking good there in terms of loyalty. And just to check in with the heirs, we've got Prince Henri, who's 10, and so 6 more years he'll be of age. And our king, Charles IV, 37, should be no problem at all. I think, if I remember correctly, I think this is not his son. Prince Jean might be his son. I think this guy married late in life, but we'll see soon enough. Actually, though, let's go ahead and throw some money at Brittany. We may as well build while it's, while we've got the money to do so, while we're at peace. The big concern is that the Spanish are going to drop and start attacking us. In a way, they've got no reason not to. Okay, Spanish going for Egypt. All right, it's not good. Okay, but the fight for Venice is not totally over. The Byzantines moving in to try to retake it, but failing. All right, the King of England has died, so he is back up in Northumbria, I guess. Keep completed in Cyprus. Doctrine of poverty. So, Papal States, Tuscany, Rome, Naples, and Genoa. Increased zeal, increased Catholicism. So that includes Naples, which, if the Byzantines try to get it back, is going to be bad for them. But yes, we can see the rebels drove the Byzantines back into the fort in Corsica. And the Danes want an alliance. I'm going to hold off. And we've got another daughter. Charles IV has acquired the Great Builder virtue. Richard de Roche, honorable warrior, devout, argumentative, very honest. Okay. Some decent traits all around. So let's see, Cyprus. No mercenaries, even though we do have an inn. Maybe that's to be expected because we do in fact have a keep there that tends to dampen mercenaries. Let's see. No signs of rebellion here at the moment. The Spanish are, in fact, allied with the Egyptians. So that could be good because they're not going to cause trouble. Like, they're not going to expand farther. And now I'm feeling a bit better, actually, because if the Spanish are looking far afield and getting themselves boarded with the Egyptians, it's more likely, right, that they're going to go after them than they are going to go after me. Theoretically. Now we're in the high period, and one thing that I want to do is get up to crossbows. I keep forgetting that. Alright, the Byzantines are very much fighting for Corsica. It looks like the Spanish jumped in too. Ooh boy. Alright, so I'm noticing that the Emperor is here on Corsica. Oh, they've got a strong navy though. Looks like they've got 3 or 4 ships. But this might be a good time to go to war with the Byzantines because, you trap their king on an island far away from the rest of the territory. That's kind of a recipe for civil war. All right. +1 influence to the Emperor. And the Nibelungen lead. All right. +1 loyalty for all generals of the Holy Roman Empire, which still exists in some capacity. Maybe it's only in Bavaria. I think this is an event that's always going to highlight Brandenburg, so they may not own this. In fact, I don't think they do. Okay, I'm not going to ally with the Polish. Another daughter. All right, let's look at the Byzantines here. They don't have any ships in the Eastern Mediterranean, which is very good for me. They do have a strong presence around here, and they've got ships around the Iberian Peninsula. In fact, all the way around. Multiple ships. Wow, strong presence in the English Channel. These are not super strong. We've got a couple dromons and a galley. But I mean, I've got barks and galleys. It's not that different. My bark is 1 attack, 2 defense. Their galleys are 1 and 1. Their barks are, I think, 1 and 0. So their dromons rather. So the barks are better in terms of defense. But like what we could do basically is declare war by, I don't know, doing something. By sending a crusade to Edessa, right? And that would just by default mean that they cannot get troops around because we're blockading the seas, right? At least they couldn't attack our lands unless they first got rid of our ships. So I think that would mean we would be sticking their emperor on Corsica. Now, they may move him, though, so I don't know that it's totally worth it. So yeah, maybe what we'll do is we'll just wait. Because if I, as we've said before, if I send a crusade to Edessa, it's probably going to go through Syria. That's going to mean I'll be betraying my ally, the Egyptians. I don't want to do that at the moment. But yeah, the time may come for us to drop this alliance if, say, the Spanish attack the Egyptians or vice versa. So maybe I'll just wait for that eventuality. Then that'll free me up to go through Syria to Edessa, to take that, to start attacking the Egyptians. For Tripoli, what do we want to do here? Oh, we could get halberdiers. You know, yeah, let's do that. So these are an interesting unit. I went with the town guard for militia sergeants, forgetting that the next level up would be halberdiers, at least in the high period. And that's a kind of a cool unit. Halberds are great against, you know, heavy cav. So like Mongols, for example, who may be showing up in the not too distant future. So I think I want to build towards that stuff. Okay, we can get chivalric sergeants right now. We can get chivalric men-at-arms. Let's do that, yes. And here, yes, crossbowmen. But actually, you know what? We'll go this, horse breeder, because we want to build towards chivalric knights here. Okay, did I lose? We've still got an assassin there. I think everywhere we've got at least one. There's actually not one in Cyprus. Alright, so we'll get an assassin. Yes, one assassin to Cyprus. We'll just take you, I guess. Okay, let's take the 0-star guy, because I can't imagine we're going to come under too much threat in Cyprus. Alright, looks like the Emperor is going to stay. So we could have screwed him up a bit. Wow, okay. King of England captured and executed. It looked like that occurred in Norway. Great. Who are they at war with? Okay, just the Germans. That may have been rebels up there. Alright, let's get another ship. I want to get one just for visibility purposes. We can move it to Skagerrak. We can get a little bit of trade going on with Denmark. And that'll allow us to see these two places as well. Okay, so with Flanders, yeah, I think it's time for a citadel. All right. Big movements from the English. All right, Byzantine Emperor is now in Croatia, so he's moved out of Corsica. The Children's Crusade. So, more heresy, less Catholicism in France and the Holy Roman Empire. Again, this is incredibly vague. Farm income is lower too. So I don't know exactly where the message is highlighting Lorraine, which we don't have, but I'm sure it's not only affecting this place. I'm not sure if this is a geographical thing or if this is like about the factions. I would assume it's geographical. Let's go for one more ship down in Toulouse as well. Okay, and we do have a spare princess now, so we can move her. I am curious about Pomerania, and then we'll kind of move down through Germany to see how they're still doing. Right. I'm kind of wondering when they're going to call for a crusade. That may happen. We've got one waiting, and I think if the Pope calls for it, I think the crusade is basically free. So, Cyprus, we want to back up Chapter House there, just in case something goes wrong on the mainland. Yeah, this guy's doing great. No wife yet. Alright, next year, Henri will come of age. Okay, so yes, we can start to move you guys up here and here. We'll see what Scandinavia looks like. Okay, the Italians moving up to Corsica. A very surprising move. Alright, yeah, we've lost a general in Palestine, but he's nobody. Okay, so they're pulling back. Makes sense. Byzantines, again, they're really fighting for Venice, but the Pope himself has shown up. Byzantines have the highest tech. Look at that, Papal Army. I've got to see what that is. Okay, good. Spanish king died of an illness. And we've got an assassin in Antioch. Very nice. Okay, Henri. So let's take a look at him. And a son. Very nice. Secret blackmailer, killer instinct. That's fine. That's fine. All of that stuff is fine. Let's look at him in particular. I think this is him. Oh, wonderful. All right, very loyal. Nice command. Decent dread. At least he got some acumen. So he's probably going to take over, at least briefly, when Charles dies. But he's got plenty of time to find a wife, so I'm not rushing for it. We'll wait. Maybe some of these factions will send us a princess. And yeah, it looks indeed like rebels. Oh, these are pretty good rebels, too. We've got the sort of the standard Vikings that have always been in the game. Then we've got some units that are added in Viking Invasion. Viking Carls, Viking Landsmen, but most especially Viking Huscarls. So these are from the, you know, the Viking Age campaign. And very, very strong. So, good command. No wonder the English had a hard time taking it. That's great to see. Okay, but they've got Sweden. Okay, the Germans do have Pomerania. Good for them. We'll move down to Brandenburg and Toulouse. Okay. Here's where we get chivalric knights. We also need an armorer's guild and a baronial court. So, I think that means we need to get at least the citadel. So there's no point really building this until we can get up to those things. Let's see, we've got the Armorer's Workshop, so the next level is the Armorer's Guild. So we could go for Citadel now. And let's do it. Be good to have a really nice place in Toulouse. Actually, I keep saying this. Let's get crossbowmen capable in Toulouse. Then we'll start the Citadel. Yep, keeping curtain wall just in case. Okay, and then the castle will soon be done in Palestine. Spanish playing very nice with the Egyptians at the moment. It's very nice to see that the Germans have some spirit left, though. So they moved from, I don't know if it was from Pomerania, maybe from someplace else. So they're at least attacking. Great. Castle and Citadel complete. And here's the Magna Carta, 1214 at Runnymede. +3 loyalty to all English generals, but -1 influence to balance it out a little bit. So that's interesting. Okay, so there's our castle. Let's go for the ring wall and everything. And in Tripoli, yes, we're still building. Okay. We've got our extra ship in the Gulf of Lions. We can now move it down to see Sicily. This really only gives us one extra port, and some of the stuff we're trading, it already produces, so it's not going to be fantastic for income, probably. In fact, we're losing a bit by moving a ship into Skagerrak, I think. But I like it for the visibility. Okay, so Ile-de-France. Now we could go for our cathedral. This is 1,000 florins, taking 16 years. Let's do Boyer's Workshop, and then let's get some stuff going here. I'm going to queue it up because I think I've got plenty of time. So that's 16, 20, plus another 12, so 32 years. That puts us right in time, right? 32 plus 15 is 47, so it'll be 1247, and we need Notre Dame. We need that cathedral by 1250, so that gives us 3 years to spare. It's cutting it a bit close, but I do want to have those things. I want to be able to train crossbows and chivalric men-at-arms, and, you know, I want to start working on armor, too. This is the most stressful but also fun part of a campaign, when you're building and you're just waiting for the enemy, or the AI, to do something. Like, there we go, there's a big English crusade appearing, and we're going to have to let them go through, or we could refuse, in which case we will be attacked. So it's going to Edessa, good for them. I'll absolutely allow this to pass. If we were to say no here, we would be excommunicated. So, all right, good for the Germans. My gosh. Ha ha ha. Okay, somehow they're still... They've got the happiest population, but there's still something. Oh, this is a civil war. Oh, crap. Come on, Germans, just get it together. I was rooting for you because you were getting beaten so badly. That's a shame. All right, so the English are going to go for Edessa. They're probably going to take it, I would guess. Actually, they may not get close to Edessa. What am I saying? I mean, by itself it doesn't look super strong, and the units here are a bit thin, but this is a crusade. And while we are giving them a bunch of good units, you know, like, they are getting... let's see, how bad is it? Wow. Okay, so it's taking, like, maybe a third, or almost a third. Yeah, because these are units of 20, and now they're looking at 14. And units of 100 are down to 70. So, you know, 30% is what they're taking. Zeal is 63%. So I don't know exactly how the mathematics work here, but that seems about right. You know, the zeal is of a certain level. It's getting close to 70, which would make me think that that's what we're looking at. Okay, well, a bit of a shame. We were building up troops there, but we'll just wait for them to move off, and then they will. It'll be fine. If the crusade fails, bad for the English. His king, unmarried King Richard, who's 23 years old, relatively low influence too. Loyalty's looking pretty good. I'm not seeing any heirs. It's a shame the Germans just crumbled right at this particular moment. Okay, Tripoli. Yep, let's go for crossbows there. Alright, the Italians, they tried. Right? They sent their Doge up to Corsica, and he got executed, so... Unfortunate. We've got another heir, Philippe. And let's see. Secret blackmailer, natural leader, that's okay. Let's see if he is... Oh, which one is he? There we go. Okay. And Henri is still the heir apparent. Now, again, we've got Prince Jean, we've got Prince Louis. I don't know exactly whose son these guys are because I've sort of forgotten. but we'll have to see. So in some cases, it's worth holding off until you're certain who the actual heir is before you go princess hunting. Let's go ahead and just keep pumping up castles. Okay, the Spanish are getting invested up in Saxony. So this is, I love this. I mean, part of the fun for me is just watching the AI do stuff and then seeing if I can deal with it. Okay, the Germans are withdrawing. The English should take it. Yeah. Spanish are the strongest, though. Alright, Prince Jean. He is not the heir, so we'll, you know, 10, 12 more years. Louis will come of age. We'll see if he's going to take over. Okay, Palestine. We've got English longbowmen down here. Oh, this is kind of worth it. I can't use them here. Yeah, let's go for the citadel, and we can make crossbowmen now in Toulouse. I will get a couple of them. They're so cheap. And yeah, let's go chivalric men at arms, and maybe then we'll go with the citadel. I do want to get an agent down to see how that English crusade is going to go. Okay, so they're going to Tyrolia. It looks like an attack, so that's against the Germans, I would guess. Very good. Catching some assassins. All right, here we go. So this is Henri. You know, I guess I could say yes to this. You know, they're allied with people I'm happy to be allied with. And if Henri is going to be the heir, so much the better. Okay, they failed. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Who's got Tyrolia? The Byzantines. Oh, wow. All right, so they couldn't even get to like the first stage. They're not going to get anywhere near Edessa. He's racking up a bit more influence. He's married now, and he's got plenty of time to produce an heir. It's fascinating, though, that the Byzantines still have Tyrolia. Okay, so now we've got to do the tedious, annoying thing of deciding, do we retrain these units? So in this game, retraining takes just as long as training a unit. So, like, I just actually combined some stuff, which, I guess it's fine. But, like, yeah, I should do this and that, and then something like that. But there's no, like, from Rome onwards, they basically made retraining sort of the smart thing to do, because you could retrain up to 9 units in a single turn. All right, let's go for ships in Cyprus. So you could wait until units were, like, tiny in terms of strength, and then send it back to a castle. And then if you had, like, you know, 10 or 9 units that were fragments of their former selves, then you could get them back in a single turn. And, like, you get, like, a full stack. Oh, this is interesting. The Byzantines are fighting the English for, like, Central Europe. Oh, no. All right, we got to help. I wonder if we can even crusade for Edessa right now. Yeah, okay, 250. So even though the English have it as a crusade... Oh, and they won this time. Wow. We'll see if they keep it, though. Interesting. Because there could be a big counterattack. Alright, Tripoli. Do we Probably don't want to do the fortress. Let's do something easy like that. And then afterwards, it's probably always good to have some kind of strong spears. But actually, yeah, we could get pabbies, crossbowmen, and arbalesters already. So we're in a pretty good position with what we can train here. What I will want to do, like, soon, is start swapping out units that are not helpful. Okay, it looks like the Crusades moving into Austria. Pope has died. Did I? Okay, right. We did the watchtowers, and now we're doing the spear makers. Okay. We've got some loyal guys here, which, you know, part of me is thinking theoretically they might be nice to have just to hold down a province. Like, say we end up going to war with the Byzantines and we need to hold some new territory. Alright, but we don't need like this many peasants. This is just like a waste of 37 florins a year. Spears, I don't think we need. We can ditch you. That's a good unit. I'll keep it. Yeah, we don't need the mounted crossbows, really. Keep the archers, I guess. Ballista's cheap, but I don't really care. And Turcopoles, we... Yeah, I guess he's got 4 acumen. Okay, Jabagi we'll never find again, so we may as well ditch. Alright, we can retrain you, so why not? It's almost, you know, immaterial. Like you may as well just, you know, disband it and get a brand new unit, I guess. Okay. Yeah, let's keep that, but we will go with something like that. Okay, it looks like they failed to take Austria, the Crusade, so it's stuck in Tyrolia at the moment. There may be a big Byzantine counterattack there. Alright, no thanks, Novgorod. And we'll just check loyalty. Okay, that's looking good. So yeah, Byzantine's strong in Austria. Got some good stuff too. They got some arbalesters, they got some Varangian Guard, Lancers, Cataphracts, of course the Trebizond Archers. Okay, let's go check out Bohemia. And I want to keep my agents right there. Okay, so this could be a good opportunity. We'll check out Sinai. Losing a bit on upkeep now. Yeah, let's go with some shipbuilding in Brittany, so we don't have to do it just out of Flanders. And Cyprus. Okay, so actually I've not been paying attention, but we can get caravels here, which is really cool. They're a very strong unit. So your navies, as a Catholic faction, start off pretty underwhelming, and then, you know, depending on the faction, I guess, then can get very strong. So this is an interesting rebellion here. What is this? Christian rebels. So a Catholic bishop has been busy down here. There's quite a lot of Catholics. There may be some osmosis from Palestine. That's interesting. All right. So the Germans are... So the Polish have Bohemia. The Germans may have another province somewhere, but... Okay, Byzantine Dromon is lost off of Ireland, it looks like. All right, actually the rebels won. Okay. Now, Sinai is not really useful, but it is a wedge, right? It is a little wedge province, but no, I'm not going to take it. Sinai is useful if you are, like, let's say I owned everything to the west of it, right? And I wanted to build up Egypt without being attacked. So then you take Sinai, because it's kind of useless by itself. If you're playing as the Egyptians, you can get a valor bonus here for Mamluk horse archers. That's awesome. That's about it, right? The income is super low. It doesn't offer any resources or trade goods. So it's not really useful in and of itself for me to take. If something like this were to happen in Constantinople, okay, right? That's fine. I'd go for it there. But Sinai by itself is not much of a prize. And strategically, I don't think it's helpful for me to own it because it just means I completely wall in the Spanish, right? Like, Sicily owns this, but I don't need another border with the Spanish. And if they take Sinai, well, yeah, I'll border them, but they can also continue to attack the Egyptians too. So again, I don't want to kind of wall in my neighbors for a basically cheap, useless province. So we'll just leave it at that. All right, Spanish. Did they invade Sicilian land? Is that what I saw? Okay, Albertus Magnus, minus 10% zeal in Germany, but the Catholic Church gains converts. Again, I don't think Germany owns that. Let me just check that. Are the Spanish now at war with the Sicilians? No, okay. I thought I saw a Spanish army move into a Sicilian province. Okay. So, the question is, do we want to build for chivalric sergeants, or do we want to keep the feudal sergeants? I think feudal sergeants are in a way better, like in their morale, than the chivalric ones, although the chivalric sergeants have better armor. Okay, Antioch, you know, yeah, I think we'll go for that. Let's go for really good archers in Tripoli. And Toulouse, yeah, I think we can go for the Citadel. We're just going to need to go for this anyway, right? So now we can build chivalric men-at-arms here. We can get crossbows here. Let's do that. We'll build up a few. You know, we are not at all strong enough to hold off, like especially all these Jeannettes, but we can be a little more reasonable about it if we get some good units. And I guess we could ship them around to other places too if we felt like it. That English crusade is just withering away in Tyrolia. good. Very loyal, good. Let's check out our stalwart. He's now a 5-star assassin. He's done nothing the entire game but sit in Toulouse and capture agents. So this is why, you know, if you're ever thinking, geez, do I really want to, you know, just leave assassins around? Wouldn't it be better and, you know, more productive? You'd catch more agents if you built border forts. Well, yeah, you probably would, but then you wouldn't have a 5-star assassin for free. Okay, Notre Dame Cathedral. This is the Cathedral of Ile-de-France, and we also have a reliquary in Ile-de-France. This one is, it's frustrating because it's actually a very similar time frame, 1230 to 1260 reliquary in Ile-de-France. So how long does a reliquary take? 8 years. I don't think we can do it. All right, so is 1226, right? Because this currently is going to take us to 1247, and then we'd have... oh, yeah, no, wait, we'd have time. Then we'd have 3 years to 1250. So, yeah, we'll just do that. That should be both of them. We should be all set then for our building requirements. And now let's check out our homelands, because in addition to these points, we're also going to get stuff for this. Changed quite a bit. We've got Normandy, we've got Anjou, and we've got Provence and Burgundy. All right, so Normandy and Anjou, obviously great to have, right? Provence and Burgundy. Now this would also round out the nice sort of star shape of our realm, wouldn't it? Obviously Aquitaine's not there at the moment, but Burgundy and Provence, I mean, now Provence is not bad. You get a valor bonus for peasants here, which is why it tends to be very low in terms of tech. Probably the Pope is training peasants. Farming income is okay. Burgundy is nice. It's got a little bit of inland trade. No special units or anything. But it does really help the borders, right? So you don't have to worry about Anjou. So that would be helpful to take. If things look bad for the English, right? They've got 260 men. They're not going anywhere. If things look really bad for the English, I mean, we're gonna have to go for them anyway, right? At some point. I don't know where their king is. Oh, right there, right in Lorraine. 33. Oh my gosh. That crusade is going to fail. It's going to cost him 2 influence. That's not by itself necessarily going to be enough for a civil war. But if he dies without heirs... very good. Alright, I'm going to hold off because we've got 2 more years for a dockyard. And at that point, I can build a few caravels. Now, caravels are nice, and we'll see why in a minute. All right, Brittany, let's invest. Okay, we're back up to over 2,000 a turn. I'm not quite sure why, but we are. Maybe someone built a port somewhere. Yeah, okay, Sweden built a port. It's probably part of it. Okay, and Brittany can build some stuff. We could get crossbows here, which is always handy. And Flanders, let's go with that Barbican. And then the Drinking Den, and that'll be Valor 2 Assassins. And if that seems pretty underwhelming, it is, sort of compared to our 5-star guy, and we've probably got some 3 or 4 stars running around. But you tend to lose assassins, you know, when you send them on jobs. Alright, so I know you're a monster. You're a 3-star, that's good. I think the guy in Palestine has been doing well. 3 stars. We got a 2-star down here. 2-star there. Okay. So that's all fine. And we've trained some stuff in Palestine. Some more Allen mercenary cavalry. And then we get some interesting stuff. Organ gun crew. So this is very cheap, just 10 support costs. And it's, you know, a very short-range anti-personnel, you know, like chain gun. I mean, it's not at all that, but, you know, it's got a lot of barrels is why I'm thinking of that. So it's a decent weapon, very fun to use if you've got a fortress you're trying to defend and you've got a tiny garrison, so the AI is encouraged to assault it. You can just throw your guys at them. Or they'll throw their guys at you, and you set up that organ gun right behind a gate. All right, Prince Louis. Let's now see. Irritable and Killer Instinct. All right, he's right there. And is he the heir? No, Prince Henri, very, very good. So Henri, who is somewhere here. Did I move him up? Yep. So he is the heir apparent. He's 31. He's married. And he presumably has been, you know, fathering some children. So I want to start sending my princess around. I've got a couple. Let's go, you know, let's just go check out Georgia and Khazar. No particular reason, just curious. Just happen to be curious. Byzantine Emperor in Bulgaria. Oh no. King of Hungary has been killed in battle. I assume that's due to the Byzantines. I guess it's not surprising. Okay, let's see. Antioch is the place where we make Turcopoles. I guess it's not particularly worth building towards them. I mean, nothing we build is going to increase their valor, I believe, right? Like, beyond what it already is. So we may as well just kind of keep it as a place that can make them. And I'm going to hold off. I'm not going to go with a fortress just yet. I think that's a bit steep for what we've got at the moment. Let's go with a shipwright. Actually, no. Let's go with a merchant. That's pretty cheap. 4 years. And the amount of money we're making in Antioch is worth it. Alright, here we go. The Golden Horde emerge. A vast horde of Mongol warriors has invaded from the east, intent on carving out their own kingdom and adding it to the great Khanate that stretches all the way to Japan. They call themselves the Golden Horde. None are safe from this new threat. A number of other rebellions in progress have declared allegiance to his faction. Number of provinces being attacked, 3. So, they emerge in Khazar. I believe they always do, and it's always at this time. And then typically you're going to see Volga, Bulgaria, and Georgia, and then maybe others. Now, because I have some provinces down here, it wouldn't surprise me if they've also emerged a little bit in Armenia. So 3 provinces are being attacked. We'll see exactly what those are. Oh, I think, is that one of ours? I don't think so. I think that's not one of ours. Okay, Bowyer's Guild, good. Armorer's Workshop, Bowyer's Workshop. Alright, now let's go take a look here. The Byzantines had Khazar. Oh, interesting. So they didn't emerge in Armenia, and in fact this horde is looking rather less horde-like than I had hoped, but how many men is it? they're kind of bunched up in a weird way here, leading me to suspect that there's at least 2, but maybe more. Maybe there's only 2 stacks here. Oh, that would be so disappointing if the Horde was only like a tiny, weak presence. Okay, so they are not yet at war with anybody. No, they are. Okay, so they emerge and they're at war with the Byzantines. Where are they here? Okay, that's the only faction they are currently at war with. So we know the Byzantines are up into the steppes. They may be all the way up towards Moscow. Okay, we'll see if the Horde is in Armenia and Volga, Bulgaria, and there's at least one other province that they own. So maybe they're skewing north. Maybe they're attacking in Muscovy, which would be very interesting. Now, typically the Horde, my understanding is that they're going to kind of match what you have. So if you've got a tiny garrison, they're not going to emerge with too many men. But if you've got a huge garrison, there's going to be a lot of guys. So maybe that's part of what's going on here. Let's take a look at the faction leader. This is Khan Ogadai I. No traits yet. Not particularly impressive, I have to say. But they've got Mongol heavy cavalry. That's their royal unit, as well as the their typical strike force. Also got steppe heavy cav, a fantastic unit. Very strong horse archer, but also melee. Mongol horse archers are, of course, very good in that role. They can fight as well. Good attack. And then their only really specific infantry unit is Mongol warriors, but they are another hybrid unit. Good attack, armed with bows, and stronger than you might think. This particular army has some Alan mercenary cavalry. It's got a bunch of naphtha throwers. In the other stack, we've got basically the same stuff, but some lighter steppe cavalry as well. And then we'll see what Volga, Bulgaria looks like. Oh, I forgot to move the princess there, but we'll check it out next turn anyway. This is going to hopefully shake things up a little bit. In fact, I do kind of want to see how this Khazar situation is going to be resolved. Okay, the Byzantines are moving to it. It looks like they own everything adjacent. So this would be the time to pounce on the Byzantines. I mean, we need to start wrecking them. Good. There's the units I was expecting to see. There we go. Fantastic. So our king dies, but the Horde lives. Beautiful. No thanks. We'll wait. Maybe I want to ally with them at some point. All right. So this is looking like the Horde I remember. And fear. We've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 stacks or so, you know. They've got some mortar crew as well to help them with a bit of siege. But otherwise, it's all the same kind of stuff. They got an organ gun in there. There might be some other siege weapons scattered around. But this is good. Okay, yes, Armenia got it bad. Okay. Okay, we may not have to do very much. Like, I was thinking, if that looked like a weak little Horde army, probably what we're going to want to do is help them out, crusade to Edessa very soon. But I think what we will do instead is send our nearby Catholic bishop. We'll send Matthew to Coligny, and we are going to go see if we can find... There, he's in there, right? There. Khan Ogadai, right? Is that his name? Of the Mongols. And we will see if we can get an alliance. Because what I'd like to do is, between us and the Mongols, kind of extend our sphere here a little bit. I wouldn't mind getting Syria, but the Mongols may not let us take it. And I'd like to get Edessa, in theory. So we'll see. You know, the Spanish might invade here, and I wouldn't mind them sharing a border with the Mongols, and then maybe we work against them a little bit. This, by the way, is totally historical. The Crusaders at the time were really interested in an alliance with the Mongols. They were hoping they would convert to Christianity as well, and wanted to, use them, as you might expect, against their sort of Turkish and other Muslim neighbors. So I don't think that ever panned out particularly well, though there were some I believe, some few occasions of alliances. It may seem surprising, but that was sort of done all the time. You find someone who's an enemy of your enemy, and you try to make an alliance with them. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to make the Byzantines our enemy, because they're getting a little too big for what I'm seeing here. And we've got some homelands we want to take care of. And the Byzantines being huge in Central Europe is also kind of intimidating me. So what we want to do is take care of that. So maybe that'll be the next episode. We've got our new king here, Henri II, and he's already been productive. We can see he's got some sons. I think Charles is new. Jean and Louis have already been, come of age a long time ago. I think Charles, I think he must be a new one. But regardless, a lot of princesses to come. And why don't we move him safely back up to Flanders before I forget? But yes, so this is an interesting hinge moment for us as the Golden Horde looks poised to begin tearing into Anatolia and maybe the steppes as well. And we'll see how the Byzantines respond to this. We'll see if the Egyptians do anything. And we'll see what ripple effects this all might have. So this is part of the fun of Medieval Total War, and I hope you'll join me for the next episode. See you then.